Alright guys, welcome back to Turbo Time. Today we're finally going to be taking on the Ridetech suspension kit for our 2023 F150 project. I have here spread out on the table the entire Ridetech kit for the rear, with the exception of the traction bars. I'm going to finish getting everything laid out here on the table and then show you guys this kit. Alright guys, we're going to go over the main components. You have your Ridetech spec rear shocks. These will be the new leaf plates, as well as the new shackles for the front and rear. This locks in the axles, new U-bolts, shims, and all the other little stuff to be able to do the flip kit. And here is going to be the traction bar setup, and this is pretty much the entire rear suspension setup for the truck. We're going to start with the rear and make our way to the front. So let's get after it. Alright guys, so the first part about this kit, the instructions do call for it. You have to cut off the bolt that holds on the leaf spring there. You have to cut the head off of the bolt or drop the gas tank, either or, but it's pretty straightforward. 2 13 mils will get the shock off, and then these are 21s on either side. I decided to remove it complete with the shackle. So all we're going to do now is go ahead and per the instructions over here, we're going to unbolt this, flip this, and put this side back in. I chose to do one side at a time. That way you don't have to fully support the diff. I'll report back how well that works. For right now, let's get back into it. So one of the little issues that I ran into, it does say in the instructions that you may need to clearance this hanger in order for things to fit. In the instructions, it kind of shows like this piece is what you would want to trim, but it's not. What needs to be trimmed is right along this edge. You just need to trim in here a little bit. I'm using an angle grinder to do so. And once you go ahead and trim that, you will be able to fit the front bracket in like I just did on the other side. I'm gonna remove this and just go ahead and hit a little coat of paint where I trimmed. It does say in the instructions that you may need to trim this. I feel that pretty much everyone's going to need to trim this. Another issue that I ran into were the locating pins on the leaf spring. Mine, although the truck is a 2023 with barely 10,000 miles on it, these were really rusty. A lot of these trucks have undercoating problems from factory where the diff will have an excessive amount of rust, surface rust, and a lot of these bolts also have rust. It made these unusable. I'm gonna post a link to what I ended up having to do. So that delayed me about a day. But what I ended up doing is I could not find the correct locating pins was just to make my own. I went and got 1/2-inch bolts and used the bench grinder to go ahead and turn them into locating pins. All right, guys, so we are on to day 2 of our suspension install on the F-150. We got the rear of it buttoned up and all put back together. I took it for a test drive just to make sure everything is right and tight. We still have to put on the traction bars, but I really wanted to make sure the rear flip kit was on there and operating correctly before going any further and putting anything else on. So there are a couple of little things that I ran into, like my said it earlier in the video, like my leaf spring pins were rusted. I had to come up with a solution for that because they weren't usable, so I had to make my own. Other than that, the install was relatively smooth. There is one bolt on the driver's side that you need a crow's foot to tighten to spec, because it does get tightened to 130 foot-pounds, and you cannot get a socket on it. You can only put a wrench. So to actually be able to torque that one to spec, you need a crow's foot socket and an extension to be able to get the torque wrench on it. Didn't really like that. They don't mention that in their kit, but other than that, so far, it rides great. Like, it doesn't feel bouncy or bumpy, even with just the rear, which was my main concern with a flip kit, is it being really bouncy in the rear, but it's not. It's set to the factory shock settings. We didn't really change anything. I'm very happy with the ride height and how it looks so far. So let's get this thing back on the lift and go ahead and start on the front. So real quick, all we really had to disconnect to get this shock out of here was the upper ball joint. We'll be removing this arm anyway. I think I may have been able to get it out without disconnecting the tie rod end, but this obviously gave us a lot more clearance. None of this is pulling or anything. So sway bar, end link, upper control arm, toe link, and that allows us to get enough space to get the factory coilover out. The Ridetech coilover is much smaller than what's going in there, so it's going to be a lot easier to put back. Let's go ahead and put together our components, throw it in here, and get all of this put back together. I will say to the front, there's really not much to it. Everything bolts in relatively straightforward. You put on the upper control arm, slide the shock back in, and put everything back the same way it came out. All right, so this is how we're looking. This is pretty much the final product. I may raise the front, maybe like 1 or 2 turns on those adjustment sleeves. But I feel I've gotten it pretty even. So far, only thing left to do is install the traction bars, but that will give me an opportunity to show you guys the finished product on the underside, how everything looks once installed. And I will point out that one bolt that I told you guys you need a crow's foot for to torque it to spec. But we'll do a riding review of the Ridetech kit. I'm very satisfied with it so far, but let's go ahead and get these traction bars on and go from there. All right, guys, so the traction bar setup is real straight up. You're gonna use one of these brackets. It's gonna mount just like this on top of the leaf spring where your previous perch was. Just gets these U-bolts. Those go right on there. The instructions will show you. Get a quick move to the underside of the truck. So this is what the finished flip kit looks like. I've already installed the bracket on this side. So pretty straightforward. It just gets the 4 bolts on there. I did end up putting some rubberized undercoating all down here on the diff and all that. This bolt here, this is the one I'm talking about earlier with its proximity to the provided shock bolt from Ridetech. This is the one that you need a crow's foot to torque to spec. I did also hit them with a chalk pen just to make sure nothing backs out. I tried to mark all of my bolts to make sure nothing would back out. Let's go ahead and throw this side on there. I'm gonna put it all together real quick, and then I'm gonna take you guys for a ride and give you my final thoughts on this kit. All right, guys, so I wasn't able to throw on the actual traction bars. I put the brackets on both axle tubes. I don't have the right size sockets here at the house to throw them on, but I'll throw them on at the shop tomorrow. That'll be in the next video. I'll also be unboxing all of this stuff. This is the full on-3 turbo kit, twin turbo kit, as well as a JD fuel pump and a few other odds and ends, e-boost controller, and that kind of stuff. But as far as ride quality goes, ride quality I would say is equal to stock as far as like bounciness or anything like that. It's a little bit firmer than stock, but nothing crazy. It's not gonna shake your teeth out, so to speak. But rides good, rides a lot like stock. No squeaks, no rattles, no real complaints. I would say it feels better than stock, just based on that. I like a little bit of a firmer ride, but I am 100% satisfied with the Ridetech kit. The quality of all of their parts is great. I'm going to try to bring you guys a comparison, as I have a buddy that's running a 2024 F150 on an IHC kit with the Keltrack long travels, as well as I have another local buddy that has another single cab 150 that he's running a more budget-friendly option of, I want to say it's a Beltec kit. And I'm going to try to get these trucks kind of side by side and get a good comparison of the differences between the kits as far as like ride quality and all that other stuff. The goal with this truck is to build us a fast daily driver. I wanted something that was still gonna ride well, and Ridetech had the best reviews for doing such, I must say. It does ride great. You would not know that this truck has a flip kit on it. I've had other flip kits in the past on different platforms, and man, night and day difference. I was hesitant to do a flip kit at first just because of past experience, but I have to say, completely satisfied. I would buy it again. So as always, guys, if you guys like these videos, if the content helps you, or if you just like following along, share, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.